Here's a comprehensive guide on how to create content around your podcast appearances. 1. Repurpose podcast interviews for social media clips. Highlight key moments. Extract short, compelling audio or video clips from your podcast interview that showcase interesting or impactful moments. Use editing tools like Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, or mobile apps such as InShot or Clips to create polished, shareable snippets. Engage with subtitles. Add subtitles to your video clips to ensure they are accessible and attention-grabbing, even when played without sound. Apps like Capwing and Clideo can help with this. Teaser trailers. Create a brief teaser or highlight reel to share a day or two before the full podcast is released. Include a call to action that directs followers to listen when the full episode drops. Social stories and reels. Share short clips as Instagram stories, reels, or TikTok posts with engaging captions and hashtags relevant to your audience. 2. Summarize your interview in blog posts. Write a recap. Create a blog post summarizing the main points and key takeaways from your podcast interview. Include insights, stories, or tips shared during the discussion, adding value for readers who may not have time to listen to the full episode. Embed the episode. Add an embedded link or player for the podcast episode within your blog post so readers can easily access and play the interview. Enhance with visuals. Include photos, graphics, or behind-the-scenes images from the recording session to make the blog post more engaging. SEO optimization. Use keywords related to the podcast topic and your music to improve search engine visibility and draw more traffic to your site. 3. Create behind-the-scenes content, pre-release teasers, share posts or stories that build anticipation for the podcast release. This could be a snapshot of you recording the interview, a short video saying what to expect, or a countdown post. Behind-the-scenes clips. Post photos or videos taken during the recording process to show your followers a more personal side of the experience. Did you know? Posts. Share interesting facts or stories that didn't make it into the final podcast episode. This provides bonus content and keeps the conversation going post-release. 4. Create a series of posts highlighting different aspects. Single topic posts. Break down your interview into individual topics and create separate posts for each. For example, if your podcast touched on songwriting, challenges in the music industry, and upcoming projects, make a dedicated post or story for each theme. Quote graphics. Design visually appealing. Quote graphics using tools like Canva or Adobe Spark to share powerful or intriguing statements you made during the podcast. Interactive posts. Create polls or questions based on your podcast topics to encourage follower interaction. For instance, if you discussed a new song, ask your audience what part of the creative process interests them most. 5. Engage your followers with calls to action, direct traffic. End your social media post with a call to action like listen to my full interview on podcast name with a direct link or swipe up feature if available. Encourage shares. Ask your followers to share their favorite moments or quotes from the podcast. This not only boosts engagement but also spreads your content to a wider audience. Host a Q&A. Use your podcast appearance as a conversation starter and invite your followers to ask questions about what you discussed. Respond with detailed answers or create a live session to engage directly. 6. Utilize video platforms' YouTube clips. If video footage of your podcast appearance is available, upload snippets or the full interview to your YouTube channel with an engaging title and description. Video recaps. Create a recap video discussing your key takeaways or favorite moments from the interview. Include links to the original podcast in the video description. LinkedIn posts. Share your insights from the podcast in a professional context on LinkedIn, especially if the discussion included industry tips or professional growth topics. 7. Cross-promote with the podcast host, tag and collaborate. Tag the podcast and host in your posts to encourage them to share your content with their followers, broadening your reach. Mutual shout-outs. Coordinate with the podcast host to do a cross-promotion shout-out or co-host a live discussion on social media platforms about the episode's highlights. Guest follow-up. Consider a follow-up guest post on the podcast's social media, discussing additional insights or engaging in a recap session. Benefits of creating content around your podcast appearances. Extends content lifespan. Repurposing content helps you get more mileage from a single podcast appearance, reaching audiences through multiple channels. Increases engagement, sharing clips, quotes, and interactive posts keeps your followers engaged and encourages them to explore your music and story further. Builds your brand. Frequent, well-crafted posts around your podcast appearances establish you as a thought leader and engaging artist. Enhances visibility. Promoting your podcast appearance can lead to new opportunities, such as more podcast invitations, collaborations, and media coverage. By repurposing social media clips, creating blog posts, sharing behind-the-scenes content, and collaborating with podcast hosts, you can effectively use your podcast appearances to market your music and expand your reach.